The evening sky over Seattle was dark and heavy, as if it was carrying secrets it didn't want to share. The cold wind moved through the streets, brushing against people rushing home after a long day. But inside a small, warm cafe on Pine Street, Emily Carter sat alone, staring at her phone with wide, disbelieving eyes. Her coffee had gone cold. Her hands were shaking. Her heartbeat felt louder than the background music of the cafe. On her phone screen was a news post, one that had already been shared thousands of times. Nathan Reed returns after 2 years, the man who disappeared without a trace. Emily read the headline again and again, hoping she was imagining things. But no, it was real. The picture in the article made her stomach twist. Nathan was standing on a racetrack, wearing a sports jacket, smiling at the cameras like nothing ever happened. Nathan Reed. The man who vanished. The man she loved once. The man who walked away from her without a single goodbye. Emily felt her breath stop for a second. For 2 years she had lived with the pain of not knowing. For 2 years she had wondered if he was hurt, lost, or if he simply chose to disappear. And now, just like that, he was back. She dropped her phone on the table and leaned back in her chair. Her mind filled with old memories she tried so hard to bury. Nathan's smile. His voice. The way he used to say her name. The way he promised he would never leave. But promises didn't stop him from disappearing. Emily blinked away the sudden sting in her eyes. She tried to calm her breathing. It doesn't matter anymore, she whispered to herself. He has nothing to do with my life now. But deep inside, her heart trembled. Just then, the small cafe bell rang loudly. Ding. Emily didn't look up at first. She didn't care who came in. She just needed to leave before the memories drowned her again. She reached for her bag. But as she stood up, she heard a voice, soft, low, and painfully familiar. Emily. Her body froze. Her heart dropped. Her fingers stopped moving completely. It couldn't be. Not here. Not today. Not now. Slowly, she turned. And there he was. Nathan Reed. Tall, tired-looking, wearing a black jacket that made him look older, wiser, and different. His hair was slightly longer. His eyes were softer. But it was him. Alive. Standing right in front of her. Like a ghost from her past had stepped into her present. Emily's mouth parted in shock. For a moment, the entire cafe seemed to go silent. She couldn't hear people talking. She couldn't hear the coffee machine. She couldn't even hear her own heartbeat. It was just Nathan. And the storm inside her. Nathan took a step toward her, unsure, nervous. Emily noticed his hands were shaking a little, as if he wasn't confident she would even allow him to speak. I didn't think I'd find you this fast, he said quietly. Emily felt anger rise in her chest, but it wasn't sharp anger. It was the kind that came from pain. From heartbreak. From unanswered questions. She swallowed hard. Why are you here? She asked. Her voice was steady, but inside she was falling apart. Nathan looked down for a moment, like he was searching for the right words. Because I needed to see you. Emily felt the old wound in her heart open again. You disappeared, Nathan, she whispered. For 2 years. Nathan closed his eyes. I know. You didn't call. You didn't message. You didn't say goodbye. Emily's voice cracked. Do you know what that did to me? Silence fell between them. Nathan looked like he was fighting something inside, a memory, a guilt, a truth. I'm sorry, he finally said. But his voice was full of a pain Emily had never heard in him before. Emily shook her head and grabbed her bag. She didn't want to hear more. Not now. Not when she had just started to feel strong again. But as she stepped past him, Nathan gently spoke again. Emily, please don't go. Not like this. Her steps stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. But she didn't turn around. Just give me 5 minutes, Nathan said softly. I owe you that much. Emily squeezed her eyes shut. 5 minutes. After 2 years. After all those nights she cried. After all the confusion and silence. Finally, she turned her head a little, just enough to meet his eyes. Nathan looked exhausted, guilty, and desperate. Not like the confident athlete the news showed. Not like the Nathan she once knew. This was someone broken. Someone carrying weight. Someone who came back for a reason she did not yet know. Emily slowly returned to her seat. She didn't know why. Maybe she wanted answers. Maybe she wanted closure. Maybe she wanted to understand why he walked away. Nathan sat across from her, his eyes fixed on her like he was afraid she might disappear this time. Thank you, he whispered. Emily folded her arms, her face still cold. You have 5 minutes, she said. Nathan nodded. But deep inside, both of them knew. Nothing in this story would end in just 5 minutes. This was only the beginning. A beginning filled with secrets, pain, and something Emily never expected. Nathan had come back. But the reason for his comeback was far bigger. And far more unbelievable than she could ever imagine. Nathan sat across from Emily, his eyes steady but filled with a sadness that made the air heavy around them. Outside the cafe window, the street lights flickered, and cars passed by, but Emily heard none of it. All she could hear was her heartbeat, loud and unsure, as she waited for Nathan to speak. He took a slow breath. I know I hurt you, he began softly. But I want to tell you why, and I want to tell you everything. Emily didn't answer. She kept her arms crossed and her expression cold, but inside, her chest tightened. She told herself she was only listening for closure. She told herself that whatever he said wouldn't change anything. But a small part of her, the part she tried to silence, still wanted to know the truth. Nathan looked down at his hands before he continued. 2.5 years ago, everything in my life fell apart at the same time, he said. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to stay. Emily stayed quiet. She remembered that time. She remembered how Nathan looked stressed but never explained why. She remembered how he kept telling her he was fine, even when she knew he wasn't. My dad got sick, Nathan said slowly. Very sick. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to worry. And I didn't want to look weak. Emily felt her stomach twist. She never knew this part. Nathan always acted strong, even when he was breaking. He continued, doctors said he didn't have much time. I visited him every day after class, every night after practice. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating right. I was exhausted, Emily, completely lost. He looked up at her, and she finally saw how tired his eyes were. It wasn't the tiredness from a long day. It was the tiredness of a man who had been carrying memories too heavy to speak about. But the worst part, he said quietly, was that I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to pull you into my pain. I didn't want you to put your dreams aside for me. Emily felt her heart sting. She remembered how Nathan kept saying he was busy. How he missed their dates. How he looked distant but kept pretending everything was okay. Nathan, she said softly, you could have told me. I would have helped. I would have been there with you. He nodded weakly. I know that now. But back then, I was scared. My world was falling apart, and I didn't want you to see me like that. Emily looked down at the table, fighting the old pain rising inside her. Nathan continued, his voice shaking a little. When my dad passed away, I felt like I broke inside. I couldn't think straight. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want you to see me when I was that lost. I thought you deserved someone stable, someone who didn't bring sadness into your life. So you just disappeared? Emily whispered. Nathan swallowed hard. Yes. I disappeared because I thought leaving would protect you. But I realize now that leaving hurt you more than anything else. Emily looked away. She felt her eyes burn, but she didn't want him to see her cry. Nathan took another breath and continued. After my dad's funeral, I fell into a dark place. I stopped running. I quit training. I almost quit everything. Emily lifted her eyes. She could see at the depth of his struggle, the emptiness those 2 years had carved into him. I moved to a small town in Oregon, Nathan said. I worked random jobs, tried to clear my mind. I joined a support group. Slowly, I started running again, not for competitions, but to heal. Emily felt a strange mix of sadness and understanding. She never imagined he went through so much. She never imagined his silence hid so much pain. One day, Nathan continued, a coach saw me running at a local track. He asked me to train with him. He said I had talent, that I shouldn't waste it. He gave a small, tired smile. I didn't believe him at first. But he kept pushing. And day by day, I started to feel alive again. Emily listened quietly, her anger melting into something softer, something she didn't want to admit yet. I trained for a year, he said. Harder than ever before. And last month, they invited me to a major running event. I didn't expect to win. I just wanted to finish. But I won, Emily. I actually won. His voice held a small spark of pride, but it faded quickly. And when I crossed that finish line, the first person I thought of was you. Emily's breath caught. She wasn't expecting that. I came back to Seattle not because of the victory, Nathan said. I came back because I finally had the strength to face the biggest mistake of my life, leaving you. The cafe suddenly felt too quiet, too small. Emily's heart softened, but doubt still lingered. She asked quietly, and now? What do you want now? Nathan looked at her with honest eyes, eyes filled with truth and fear. I want to make things right, he said. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to trust me easily. But I want a chance, a real chance, to show you who I am now. Emily looked away for a moment. Old pain battled with new understanding inside her. Finally, she whispered, Nathan, things aren't the same anymore. He nodded. I know. But I'm here now. And I'm not running away again. Emily stayed silent, unsure, conflicted. Nathan slowly stood up. I'll leave now, he said softly. But I'll be around. If you ever want to talk, or yell at me, or just ask more questions, I'll be here. He walked toward the door. Emily watched him go, her heart shaking. When the door closed behind him, she whispered to herself. This isn't over, not yet. After Nathan left the cafe that evening, Emily sat quietly, staring at her untouched coffee. The warmth of the cup long gone, her hands rested on the cold table. Her mind was racing, replaying every word Nathan had said. 2 years of questions. 2 years of heartbreak. And now, in just a few minutes, some of those questions had been answered, but the answers left her more confused than ever. Emily tried to think about something else, her art, her upcoming exhibition, her small but steady life, but Nathan's words echoed in her head. I came back because I finally had the strength to face the biggest mistake of my life, leaving you. She whispered the words aloud. The biggest mistake, leaving me. Her chest tightened. She had moved on, or at least, she thought she had. She had learned to live without him. She had poured herself into her art, her friends, and her work. Yet hearing him admit his mistake stirred something deep inside her, something she had tried to bury. The next few days were quiet. Nathan didn't call, didn't text. Emily told herself it was over. She didn't want to hope. She didn't want to feel the pain of disappointment again. But despite her determination, her heart betrayed her. Every time she walked past a running track, or saw a picture of him online, she felt a pang of longing. Then one afternoon, as Emily was setting up her new painting in her studio, she heard a familiar voice. Emily. She turned quickly. Her heart skipped a beat. It was Nathan. Standing in the doorway, slightly out of breath, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. Emily froze. Nathan, what are you doing here? He gave a small, nervous smile. I wanted to see you. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Emily's eyes narrowed. Okay. After disappearing for 2 years. Nathan's shoulders slumped. I know I can't undo the past, but I want to try to show you I'm different now. Emily crossed her arms. Different? You left me. Do you know how that felt? I do, Nathan said quietly. Every day. I've thought about it every single day. Emily felt a tear threaten to fall, but she wiped it away. Why are you really here, Nathan? You've won your race, you've got your life, why come back to me? Nathan stepped closer, careful not to invade her space. Because you were the one thing I lost that I could never replace. And I don't want to lose you again. Emily wanted to look away, but she couldn't. His eyes held a truth she couldn't ignore. Over the next few weeks, Nathan visited her often. He didn't demand anything. He didn't rush her. He just showed up, helping with small things around the studio, carrying heavy canvases, or bringing coffee when she stayed late working. Emily started noticing small changes in him. He was calmer, patient, and genuinely kind. Gone was the restless, distracted man who had left her heartbroken. This Nathan, this man was someone who had faced pain, learned from it, and come back stronger. But just as Emily started to allow herself to feel something again, doubt crept in. One rainy evening, as Emily walked home from her studio, she slipped on a wet sidewalk. Nathan, who had followed at a distance, ran to her just in time. He caught her arm and steadied her. Are you okay? He asked, concern flooding his face. Emily looked at him, wet hair clinging to her face, and felt a mix of relief and anger. I'm fine, she muttered, even though her heart was racing. Nathan didn't let go. He held her hand gently. Emily. I can't lose you again. Not like this. Please, just, let me stay. Emily's mind was a whirlwind. She wanted to run. She wanted to push him away. But at the same time, a spark of hope flickered inside her. Could he really have changed? Could this be the man she once loved, the man she had thought she would never see again? That night, Emily sat in her apartment, staring at the rain outside, thinking about Nathan's words and actions. She remembered the pain of the past. She remembered the nights she cried herself to sleep. But she also remembered how alive she had felt when she was with him. The next day, she decided to confront the truth. She called Nathan and asked him to meet her at a small park near her apartment. When he arrived, she didn't hide her feelings. I don't know if I can trust you again, she said honestly. You left me once. How do I know you won't leave again? Nathan looked at her, eyes unwavering. I can't promise the past won't hurt us. But I can promise I'm here now. I'm not running away. I want to prove it to you, every single day, if I have to. Emily studied his face, searching for any sign of deceit. There was none. Only honesty. Only pain. Only love. She sighed deeply. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm ready yet. Nathan smiled softly, a mix of hope and sadness. That's okay. I'll wait. I'll wait as long as it takes. I don't want to pressure you. I just want a chance. Emily felt her heart soften, Just a little. Maybe, just maybe. Nathan's comeback wasn't just about winning a race or proving himself. Maybe it was about winning her heart back, slowly, day by day. And as they sat together on the park bench, watching the sun break through the clouds, Emily realized something. This story, her story with Nathan, was far from over. It was only just beginning. The days passed slowly, but Nathan never missed a chance to show Emily that he had changed. He would stop by her studio, help with heavy canvases, or just sit quietly while she painted, not saying much, letting his presence speak. Emily tried to keep her distance, reminding herself that her heart had been broken before. Yet every time she looked at him, she felt something stirring inside, a warmth, a pull, a memory she had tried to forget. One evening, as Emily was working on a large canvas for her upcoming exhibition, the doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone. Nathan stepped inside with a small smile, holding a bag of supplies. "Thought you might need these," he said softly. Emily looked at him and shook her head. "Nathan. I told you, you don't have to keep coming here." He shrugged, placing the bag on a nearby table. "I want to. I like being here with you." Emily sighed and returned to her painting. But her hands trembled slightly. She didn't want to admit it, but she missed him. She missed having him around, even if it scared her. For the next few days, Nathan and Emily spent more time together, carefully, slowly. She began to see the man he had become, not the broken man who left her, but someone who had faced life's challenges and learned from them. But just as Emily started feeling safe with him again, trouble arrived in the most unexpected way. It was a rainy Saturday afternoon. Emily was finishing a new painting when the studio door flung open. A strong gust of wind sent papers flying everywhere. Emily gasped and rushed to catch them, but one of her canvases slipped off the table. She stumbled backward, nearly hitting a shelf. Nathan dashed forward, grabbing her arm just in time. "Are you okay?" he asked, panic in his eyes. Emily nodded, her heart racing. "Yes. I'm fine." Nathan held her hand tightly. "Emily, please be careful. I don't know what I'd do if you got hurt." Emily felt her eyes water. She didn't want to cry, but seeing his worry, his genuine concern, broke something inside her. "Why are you always like this?" she asked softly. "So careful, so patient, so perfect." Nathan gave a small, embarrassed smile. "Because I don't want to lose you again." Emily looked away, fighting the flood of emotions inside her. She wanted to trust him. She wanted to believe he had really changed. But a part of her, the cautious part, the part that remembered the heartbreak, held her back. Just as the tension between them seemed to soften, Emily's phone rang. She glanced at it and froze. It was her best friend, Rachel, calling with urgent news. "Emily, you need to come to the cafe right now," Rachel said, her voice trembling. "It's Nathan. Something's happening." Emily's heart pounded. She grabbed her coat and ran outside into the rain. Nathan followed her, confused. When they arrived at the cafe Rachel had mentioned, Emily's worst fears seemed real. A small crowd had gathered, and people were whispering. Nathan looked at her, panic in his eyes. "Emily, what's going on?" he asked. Rachel stepped forward. "It's a rumor. People are saying Nathan might have cheated in his last race. Some journalist posted something online. People are talking, and it's spreading fast." Emily felt like the ground had been pulled from beneath her feet. She wanted to scream, to run, to believe this wasn't true. But she could see the look on Nathan's face. He was stunned, hurt, and frustrated. "I didn't cheat," Nathan said, his voice firm but quiet. "I worked hard for that win. Every step, every mile, it was me." Emily wanted to believe him. She knew his honesty. She knew he had faced pain and never given up before. But the fear of being hurt again, of trusting someone and losing them, was overwhelming. "You have to fight this," Emily said, gripping his arm. "You have to prove yourself." Nathan nodded. "I will. But I don't want this to ruin what we're trying to build." Emily looked at him, torn. She wanted to stay by his side, to support him, but doubt lingered like a shadow. Over the next few days, Nathan faced criticism and rumors from the public. Fans questioned his victory. Some old rivals spread lies. But through it all, he stayed calm, focused, and determined, not just for the race, but for Emily. He would call her, text her, and sometimes just show up quietly to reassure her. Each time, Emily saw a different side of him, a strength she hadn't noticed before, a patience she had never expected. Despite the new conflict, a bond between them started to grow stronger. Emily began to realize that Nathan's comeback wasn't just about winning races. It was about proving he could stand tall through life's challenges and still fight for love. One night, after a particularly stressful day with rumors spreading online, Nathan and Emily sat on a park bench under the stars. The city lights reflected on the wet streets, making everything look magical. Nathan held her hand gently. "Emily, I know I can't erase the past. I know people are talking. But I promise, I won't let anything take us apart this time. I'll fight for us, no matter what." Emily looked into his eyes, her heart softening. She realized that love wasn't just about happy moments. It was about facing fear, standing together in challenges, and trusting again. For the first time in weeks, she smiled. "Then let's fight together, Nathan. But we have to be honest. Always." Nathan nodded. "Always." And as they sat together, hand in hand, both of them knew that the coming days would be tough. The path ahead was uncertain. But for the first time, they felt ready to face it together. The day of the big race had finally arrived. The stadium buzzed with excitement, cameras flashing, fans cheering, and competitors stretching and preparing. Nathan stood at the starting line, taking deep breaths. His legs trembled, not from fear, but from anticipation. Emily sat in the stands, her heart racing. She had tried to focus on her art, to stay calm, but the truth was, she had never felt this nervous for anyone before. Seeing Nathan here, after everything, filled her with a mix of hope, worry, and pride. Nathan glanced at the stands and spotted Emily. Their eyes met, and in that moment, it was as if the past 2 years of pain, distance, and misunderstanding melted away. He took his mark. The whistle blew. And they were off. Nathan ran with everything he had. Every stride, every breath, was a testament to his hard work and his journey back, not just to victory, but to Emily. The crowd roared, the competitors pushed themselves, but Nathan focused on one thing: crossing that finish line, and proving to himself and Emily that he had changed. Halfway through the race, a sudden pain shot through Nathan's leg. He stumbled slightly, and his chest tightened. For a split second, doubt crept in. Could he really finish? Could he really win? But then he remembered the months of training, the nights of doubt and struggle, the pain of losing Emily's trust, and the promise he had made. "I'm here. I'm not running away again." Nathan pushed forward. Each step was harder than the last, but he refused to stop. Sweat poured down his face. His lungs burned. The crowd's cheers became a blur. All he could see was the finish line and Emily, waiting for him. Meanwhile, Emily held her breath in the stands. She watched Nathan stumble and then rise again. She felt a surge of emotions: fear, hope, love, and pride. Tears filled her eyes. She wanted to scream encouragement, but she knew he needed to find his own strength. As the final lap approached, Nathan found a second wind. Every step carried more than his body, it carried his heart, his regret, his determination, and his love for Emily. He ran not just to win a race, but to show that he had overcome the darkest part of his life. The finish line drew closer. The crowd's roar grew louder. Nathan pushed his body past exhaustion, past fear, past doubt. With a final burst of energy, he crossed the line. He had won. But more importantly, he had proven to himself and to Emily that he could face anything, and still fight for what mattered most. Emily leapt from her seat, tears streaming down her face. She ran toward him as security and fans moved aside, sensing the emotional reunion unfolding. Nathan, drenched in sweat, looked at her and smiled a real, honest smile. Emily reached him. She threw her arms around his neck, holding him tightly. "You did it, you really did it," she whispered, her voice breaking. Nathan held her, breathing heavily. "I did it, for me, for us," he said softly. Emily pulled back slightly, searching his eyes. "Nathan. I was so scared I'd never see you again. I was so scared that you'd leave again." "I know," he said. "And I understand. But I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere." They stood together in the middle of the stadium, the crowd fading around them. In that moment, the past 2 years, the heartbreak, the waiting, the pain felt like it had led them exactly here. Emily smiled through her tears. "I guess, sometimes people need to fall, to lose everything, to come back stronger." Nathan nodded, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. "And sometimes, the hardest battles are worth fighting. Not for victory, but for love." They held hands, walking slowly out of the stadium. Nathan's heart still raced, not from the race, but from knowing he had finally earned a second chance. Emily's heart raced too, not from fear, but from hope and happiness. Over the next few days, Emily and Nathan spent time rebuilding their trust. They laughed, painted, ran, and talked. Nathan never rushed anything. He understood that true love wasn't just about grand gestures, it was about showing up, day after day, no matter what. One evening, as the sun set over Seattle, Emily looked at Nathan, smiling softly. "You know," she said, "I never thought I'd see you like this, stronger, calmer, better than before." Nathan smiled, holding her hand. "I told you. I came back for a reason. Not just to win a race, but to win you back." Emily laughed, a sound full of relief and happiness. "Well, you did. But remember, you have to keep proving it." Nathan grinned. "I will. Every day." They walked together along the quiet streets, the sky painted with colors of orange and pink. For the first time in years, both of them felt whole. Nathan's comeback wasn't just about running or victory. It was about courage, redemption, and the power of love. And Emily knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Because some comebacks aren't just about winning, they're about proving that love, honesty, and perseverance can heal even the deepest wounds. And as Nathan held Emily's hand under the soft glow of the city lights, they both knew their story had only just begun, stronger, wiser, and full of hope. The end.